Hello everyone, hope you all are doing well. Welcome to Diplomat's Desk. I am your host Meet Shah. If you think the AI race is only about chatbots, this week in India proved it's actually about infrastructure. Because at the India AI Impact Summit 2026, India's IT Minister publicly said the summit pulled in over $250 billion in AI infrastructure investment commitments, data centers, semiconductors, high performance computing, and connectivity. Now pause. $250 billion is not a small headline. So today we are going to do something most videos don't. We'll break down company by company what was actually announced, how much money and what it means for you and for India, the benefits and the very real setbacks. And yes, we'll also address the uncomfortable questions. Who wins if AI compute becomes the new oil? What happens to jobs? Can we scale AI without breaking the power grid and local water systems? Let's get into it. First, the naming. A lot of media calls it India AI Summit. The official name is India AI Impact Summit 2026, a Government of India flagship event under India AI Mission, hosted in New Delhi at Bharat Mandapam. It ran across week of Feb 16 to 2026 with an expo that extended further. And the big positioning was important. This summit tries to shift the global AI conversation from only AI safety to AI for development and impact, especially from the perspective of the global south. Also, this was not only politicians talking. It pulled in major tech leaders and global attention, and it ended with a push for a shared declaration on responsible AI reported at 70 plus signatories expected to cross 80. So this is not just a conference, it's a signal India wants to be rule maker and an infrastructure builder in the AI era. Now, before the investments, I want you to understand the AI stack in plain language, because once you get this, you'll instantly understand why the companies are pouring money into India. Here are the four building blocks. First, compute. This is the raw horsepower, mostly GPUs in the data centers. Training a big model and running it for millions of users both requires massive compute, and compute is expensive. So second one is connectivity. AI isn't magic if the data can move fast. Subsea cables, fiber routes, low latency networks. This is the highway systems for AI. Then chips plus supply chains. Without semiconductors and packaging capacity, compute becomes a bottleneck. Then capability, talent, skilling, governance, safety testing, and real deployment in health, education, and agriculture. Now keep that model in your head. Compute plus connectivity plus chips plus capability, because every major investment we'll discuss fits into one of these buckets. Now let's start with the biggest India headline. At the summit, Mr. Mukesh Ambani announced 10 lakh crores of investment by Jio plus Reliance over the next 7 years starting 2026. Now what did they say they will build? They described sovereign compute infrastructure with these three initiatives. First, gigawatt scale data centers. They said they are already constructing multi-gigawatt AI-ready data centers at Jamnagar, and that over 120 megawatts will come online in the second half of 2026. Second is green energy advantage. They described up to 10 gigawatts of ready green power surplus anchored by solar. Then third is nationwide edge computing layer integrated with the Geo network to make AI low latency and affordable. Now, my take here is this is the Reliance positioning itself not just as a telecom company but as an AI utilities company, power plus compute plus network plus distribution. And if they execute, it can change the cost of AI in India the same way Geo changed the cost of data. But this is also a promise with a long run, where the key question is execution. How fast can they bring real capacity online at real prices for real developers? Next big bet by Adani. Multiple reports around the summit says Adani plans $100 billion into renewable powered AI ready data centers with a long term timeline described as by 2035. And Adani's statements connect AI infrastructure directly to the energy, because AI is electricity hungry. So here's my take. Adani is betting that in the AI age, data centers will be the new industrial parks and power will be the differentiator. It's a classic infrastructure first play on the underlying rails. But the obvious trade-off, data centers create jobs, especially construction jobs, but they don't employ millions long term by themselves. The real benefit comes when they enable a huge ecosystems of startup services and public digital systems on top. Now a major global one. On Google's official blog, the company says it's recently announced a $50 billion investment to establish foundational AI infrastructure in India. They also announced the America-India Connect initiative, new strategic fiber routes to strengthen connectivity between US, India and multiple locations across the southern hemisphere. And it was not only infrastructure. Google also announced Two $30 million global challenge programs: AI for Government Innovation Impact Challenge and AI for Science Impact Challenge. Plus, DeepMind's national partnership work with Indian bodies for AI for science models and innovation hubs. So Google's message is basically AI cannot be equitable without infrastructure and skills. And strategically subsequable sounds boring until you realize the next AI bottleneck is not only GPUs, it's bandwidth, latency, and reliable routes. At the summit, Microsoft published that it's on pace to invest $50 billion by the end of the decade to help bring AI to countries across the global south. This is the broader than India, but it explicitly includes infrastructure and skilling in the regions, including India. Separately, Microsoft India stated $3 billion investments over the 2 years in India for cloud and AI infrastructure. Microsoft also described major skilling goals like aiming to equip 20 million people in India with essential AI skills by 2030 as a part of its broader program. So my take here is Microsoft is positioning itself as the AI diffusion company, not only frontier models but distributing capability like infra skills, multilingual evaluation and policy frameworks. If Google is building roads and bridges, Microsoft is saying we'll also build school and training programs beside those roads. One of the most concrete AI hub announcements, Yotta Data Services said it will invest over $2 billion to build one of the Asia's largest AI computing hubs in India using NVIDIA's Blackwell Ultra GPUs, with operations expected to go live by August 2026. It also references a 4-year engagement worth $1 billion under which NVIDIA will establish a major DGX cloud cluster with Yotta's supercluster. The development is described across Yotta's Greater Noida campus near New Delhi with additional capacity in Navi Mumbai. Now, this is the picks and shovels movement. A lot of India's startups don't need a trillion parameter model, they need reliable GPUs, access at predictable prices. If India wants to be a place where models are trained and deployed, not only consumers projects like this matter. Now, L&T's data center arm, Vyoma, is planning a 25,000 crore rupees investment for a 250 megawatt green AI-ready hyperscale data center campus at Dholera, Gujarat, reported as an agreement MOU during the summit period. This shows something important. AI infrastructure in India is not only Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore anymore. States are competing to become AI infrastructure hubs, offering policy support, land, power, and incentives. TCS announced a strategic partnership with TPG for its AI data center business HyperVault. TCS says TPG is investing $1 billion and together both partners will commit up to 18,000 crore rupee over the next few years of gigawatt scale AI ready infrastructure. They also clearly frame it as a building AI ready data centers with capacity in excess of a gigawatt. TCS trying to move up this stake. Instead of only providing services on someone else's cloud, it's saying we'll also own and operate part of the AI infrastructure layer. That can be strategically powerful if executed well. Now, Blackstone's official press release says it and co-investors agreed to invest up to $600 million in equity with Neysa, intending to secure an additional $600 million in debt financing, enabling $1.2 billion capital raise. The same release ties the funding to deploying 20,000 plus GPUs in India. This is the rise of the neo clouds companies offering GPU first cloud capacity locally, which matters for data sovereignty, latency, and regulated industries. It's also a sign that global capital sees India's AI infra as a real asset class, not just software dreams. AI does not run on speeches, it runs on chips. India's semiconductor ecosystem got a hard data point. Economic Times Telecom cites the Micron ATMP project investment at 22,516 crore rupee and references commercial production beginning around Feb 28, 2026. This is not just electronics manufacturing, this is about reducing bottlenecks in the AI hardware supply chain and building the credibility needed to attract more chip ecosystem players. Now, beyond big corporations, states use this summit as an MOU platform. Bihar signed pacts worth 468 crore rupee tied to multiple projects, including a research park idea. And state competition is real. CWEW policy paper notes India has 271 data centers as of Jan 2026, with states taking the lead on policy because India does not yet have a binding national DC policy framework. Now back to the big number again. The minister's statement $250 billion plus in infrastructure investment commitments. Here's the honest way to interpret this. Commitments can include letter of intent, MOUs, planned capex, financing intent, and pipeline projects. It may combine multiple layers and multiple years and multiple categories: data centers, semiconductors, HPC connectivity. It's a confidence signals, but you should track delivery milestones: land acquired, permits done, power procurement, GPU orders, build timelines, customer contacts. Now, so in the rest of this video, we are not celebrating big numbers. We are asking, will it ship, will it help Indians, and will it be sustainable? Now, let's talk about the benefits for India. If India gets abundant compute, public and private, startup experiment becomes cheaper. That's how you go from we have talent to we have products. Reliance literally framed it as reducing the cost of intelligence like the cost of data. This summit was positioned as a global south, convening. If India becomes a place where AI is built and served affordably, India can export services, platforms, safety frameworks, and even governance models, not just IT manpower. Google's Government Challenge Fund and Science Challenge Fund, Microsoft Skilling and Diffusion Framing. All of this points towards using AI inside government workflows, not just private consumer apps. Micron's project and the broader push around semiconductors plus DC build out signal long-term industrial capacity. A leader declaration with 70 plus signatories expected to cross 80 matters because AI governance is geopolitical now. Now I am going to be blunt here because you asked to be fair. First setback is energy demands is the elephant in the room. The IEA estimates global data centers electricity consumption was around 450 TWh in 2024, approximately 1.5% of the global electricity, and it's in its base case its project data center electricity use could double to approximately 945 by 2030. That tells you the real challenge. AI does not only require GPUs, it requires grid capacity, reliability, and clean power procurement. If India scales DCs without planning power, you get shortages, higher prices, and political backlash. Now, water and land pressure can trigger local resistance. CWW flags the land water energy nexus problem and explicitly points to water and land pressure on communities as data centers scale. If a region is already water stressed and a data center cluster arrives, people will ask, why does the server get water before my home? That's not a tech problem, that's a legitimacy problem. If only top companies and top colleges access compute, AI could widen inequality. New rich get richer. Even leaders speaking at the summit framed the risk of digital divide becomes an AI divide. Yes, AI will create a new roles, but job transitions hurt in the short term. If you are in the routine process work, some of that will be automated. The solution is not denial, it's a skilling, mobility, and safety nets. Summit declarations and safety institute matters because AI will also scale fraud, deepfakes, and misinformation. If people can't trust what they see, the entire digital economy pays a trust tax. If I had to summarize the real checklist after this summit, it says India AI mission plus private players should create accessible compute pools with transparent pricings, tie incentives to renewable PPAs, water recycling reporting, heat stress and climate resilience planning. Microsoft explicitly talks about multilingual evaluation expansion. The summit also talked about building an institutional base for safety. Because if teachers aren't AI literate, we'll train one generation too late. For every rupee announcement, track site readiness, megawatts coming online, GPUs installs, customers onboarded, actual workload served. Let's bring it home. If you are a student, don't only learn prompts, learn data, ML basics, deployment, ML ops, security. If you are a founder, your advantage will be building for India's constraint, cost, languages, bandwidth, devices. If you are working in any IT industry or BPO, move up the value chain, automation, design, AI ops, compliance, integration. If you are a creator, learn about authenticity, tools, watermarking, provenance, because deepfakes will be everywhere. So here's the real headline of India AI Impact Summit. Not the AI is coming, AI is already here. The question is whether India becomes a consumer of the other people's model or a builder of the infrastructure, capability and governance that makes AI work for a billion people. And this summit plus the investment we covered suggest India is trying to be the builder. Now I want your opinion. Should India prioritize compute, skill, chips or safety first? Drop your answer below, and if you want, I also create a separate video script on AI Mission 2.0, what it might include and how to track delivery based purely on official announcement. Thanks for watching this one. See you in the next one.